Hello and welcome to Season 3 of the NGO Whisperer Show. My name is Caroline Opinde. I am the founder of the NGO Whisperer. We are a consulting business that provides technical support to nonprofits so they can successfully impact people's lives. Joining us today from New Delhi, India is Professor Nabhit Kapur. He is the founder of Peacfulmind Foundation and an advocate for mental health wellness. Professor Nabhit, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much for inviting me. It is such an honor to be on your show and such a privilege that I'm joining you in your season 3.
Thank you so much. We are truly honored. And most recently, we commemorated the World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on our social media. And we couldn't have thought of anyone better than you to come on our show to talk about mental health and the work that you do. To start us off, Professor Nabhit, what motivated you or inspired you to start up the Peacfulmind Foundation and to be an advocate for mental health and wellness?
First of all, a very happy World Mental Health Day, since it's the Mental Health Week. So I congratulate everybody who is doing great work in the field of mental health and advocacy of mental health. Coming back to your question of Peacfulmind Foundation was not a foundation before. It actually started off as an idea, and like every a newcomer who starts his organization, who wants to start an organization, it was just like a small clinic, as you can say. We had few patients who used to come in for counseling sessions. I used to do few trainings, etc., etc. I was just very much a fresher person into this field, and I had no clue what does a foundation mean. As and when we went on for the registration of Peacfulmind, then it became a foundation, and it took up the turn of a big organization, which it is now in the space of mental health. What motivated me for mental health was I always studied psychology since my high school, and but the things kept on changing. I wanted to do organizational psychology. Then I went into core clinical and counseling psychology. And then I went into psychotherapy, started working with hospitals, teaching in schools, high schools, and even taught university kids. Recently, it's been not more than 1.5, 2 years that I developed a full passion for advocacy. Mental health advocacy and practicing mental health are two different things, what I see it as. So I developed this passion for making mental health a household term, so that every person, even at the ground root level, should know what mental health is all about, because it's a part of your own self. Just like your hands, your legs, your brain, your heart. Mental health is your own part, and people fail to realize it and fail to even acknowledge it. So that is when I developed, this foundation into a complete mental health advocacy body.
That is wonderful. Your passion for helping people to have a healthy mindset or healthy mental status has been very commendable. And we know and we have heard of the amazing things that you have been doing. Before we go into the model of Peacfulmind and the work that you do in the communities, would you please share with us the different groups that you work with in your work?
The best part of my organization is that we work with everybody. So we work with schools, we work with civil societies, I work with politicians, I work with governments, police, airlines, everybody. So even the beneficiary, you can say, the people who are benefited from our work is every person who's living in society. So my organization has collaborations with other civil societies, other schools, other universities, police officers group, airline aviations. Now you can see the world leaders, which we have started a recent program. So every person who we are targeting is just on the basis of one motive: how to have a healthy mind and how to be, happy within your own self. So that is what we are actually targeting at. We are training people not into, going into stress management or something. We are actually telling them, how do you perceive something like stress? How do you perceive happiness? How do you perceive mental health? We are actually empowering people to deal with their own mental health rather than, looking for happiness externally or peace of mind externally. So I am basically helping people to get their own tools and weapons to help themselves and to help others.
As you work with different parts of the community, whether it's in schools, with the police service units, with universities, with politicians, heads of states, and different leaders, religious leaders, and so forth, how do you provide your services? Could you give us an example of, for example, if the NGO Whisperer were to want to partner with you to provide these services to the nonprofits, what steps will we need to take to partner with you and to work with you? And how will you provide your services to our nonprofits and their employees?
We have a lot of initiatives under Peaceful Mind Foundation. So, if you want, I can go into details of how we collaborate. Obviously, it's a very simple MOU what we do. That's the basic structure of how we want to collaborate with one another. Now, recently, we have a collaboration with an organization which deals in mental health in Ukraine, for example. Now, they are conducting a webinar session. It was supposed to be a physical session, but due to the pandemic, it's now going to be a webinar session, which is next month. So, we have partnered up with them in terms of what resources we are going to give them. So we are helping them to promote the mental health within different groups. We are helping them structure, the agenda for the conversations. So these bits and pieces, we provide our training and resources. If you talk about your own self, like NGO Whisperer, so we structure out that how and in what nitty-gritties we want to partner. You want to partner in giving out trainings with us. You want to partner out in doing programs with us, all the initiatives which we have. So we structure it out in a very simple way. So there is no complications with either of the parties. So we help each other with only one motive, that we have to promote mental health.
So once you have partnered with the different organizations, you structure a model that will be useful for them, of course, something that addresses the needs that they have identified. How long do you provide these services? Do you provide training to empower the people so they can continue, or do you remain as a continuous resource partner throughout?
We do it both ways. We provide trainings also, and we become as a continuous resource partner also. So it both ways.
And you have mentioned that you work with different countries. I know most recently you have received an award from an African country. So you work in Africa, you work in Europe, you work in the United States, and all over the world. How many countries are you operating right now through your work?
Right now, in counting, you can say 42. But when you say country representatives, then it is only 22. But I have worked with more than 42 countries. I mean, I have given trainings, workshops, organized sessions with them. But if you say that the Peaceful Mind has representatives, a director representation in different countries, then it is 20 to 22.
For those of you who are watching, please, if you haven't known or heard of Peaceful Mind Foundation, you need to get in touch with them and see if your country is part of the countries that have partnered with them. And if not, they are open to partnership. Now, to take us to the next step, you have achieved so much in the short time frame that you have been registered as a foundation formally. Of course, you were working previously, informally, in your own capacity as an advocate. Now, since you formally found Peaceful Mind Foundation, share with us what have been your achievements, lessons learned, and challenges.
The achievements are, it's like more than 200 awards I have won. Honestly, it's on record, I'm saying. But as a foundation, we have been working since 2016, and the challenges are, you can say, 100%. than the output what I used to get. But I never stopped learning. I never stopped my passion of promoting mental health, which I want to do, and till today I want to do it, and I want to continue it throughout my life. Because this is something which I'm doing from my own passion, from within. Nobody has told me to do it. And on record, I'm saying I don't take money from anybody. I don't take charities. I don't take donations. I just do it out of my own passion. I'm very thankful to the entire team of Peaceful Mind Foundation, more than 250 people we have. And they all are working with their passion in Peaceful Mind and their passion for mental health. Nobody takes any penny from us. Nobody earns any penny from us. They all work in their own areas. They have their own jobs. But their passion for mental health is something which I really want to thank them about. And they have made this organization grow to from an organization which was just a one table and chair in one room, grown to a global organization which we are now. People recognize us, like yourself. It's really commendable. Um, the obstacle for mental health is something people do not understand even today. The stigma is there, the taboos are attached. More than that, they do not acknowledge it, that there is something called mental health. Forget about stigma. You will perceive something as important when you are told that it is important. Like when we have fever, we perceive that it is important to be taken care of. But when we want to talk to somebody and we do not have somebody, nobody has told us that you can talk to somebody. It is important to ventilate. So these are very small things, which are not very important to many of the people in life, but these are the only things which I'm telling people are the most important for your well-being. So these were the challenges, and yes, I face those challenges even today. I do not lose hope, and that is what makes me, keeps me going.
You've mentioned stigma and taboos around mental health illness. Now, we all know that if my head aches, I go to the doctor, and I'm not ashamed to say my head is aching. People who have high blood pressure, the same thing. However, when it comes to mental health, there is a lot of stigma. First and foremost, from the individual themselves, from the patient themselves, and also from the society. Now, as a mental health advocate and also as a clinical psychologist, how can we change this narrative?
The taboo for mental health will be there till the time we are not approaching it strategically in a right way. Most of the times I tell people that it's not the taboo or stigma that is there, but we are not approaching to the grassroots level to cut that stigma. We talk, we sit and do webinars, we do conferences, but where is the implementation of it? Tell me. You have to go to the ground level, approach people who can actually help you go to that level where you can cut that stigma. Now, I'll tell you one example. I'm working, I got partnered up with the municipalities of New Delhi, and we catered to approximately 33,000 employees there, to help them deal with their stress. So that is called the ground root level work. At one time we were actually going across thousand peoples in one group, so you're like 30 groups, and telling them that this is how you have to perceive stress, this is how you have to identify if somebody is not talking to you, this is how you have to identify if somebody is going through problem. So small bits and pieces of psychological first aid tips we were giving to people. So this is the kind of work which we have to do to cut across that stigma and taboo. Now, this taboo is created by us only. It's not, somebody, some alien came and gave it, but it's just created by us. That if you talk about what is going inside you, you are mad and you are crazy. So this labeling has been done, and the society has been conditioned to it. But good part is that things are changing. It will take time, but things are changing, and especially thankful. I'm really thankful to this pandemic, to be very honest, that it actually brought mental health to a global limelight. More people are not talking about mental health, but obviously the problem is we do not know who to talk about, we do not know who to talk to. There are two things. Either in our terminology, there is a psychiatrist and a psychologist. There are two different things, but people still consider them as one. So these small things we have to tackle. We have to help people to talk. We have to create a non-judgmental environment. This is how the stigma will go out.
On World Mental Health Day, I did a post, and on my post on social media, I said this, and I'm going to read it. Investment in mental health programs at the national and international levels have suffered from years of chronic underfunding. This is now more important than ever. This is why the goal for 2020 World Mental Health Day is increased investment in mental health. In your opinion, as a mental health advocate, having implemented programs across the globe in 42 countries, having representatives in 22 countries as representatives of Peacfulmind Foundation, what is your take on investment on mental health wellness?
When we come to investment in mental health, if you talk about investment in terms of capital, that is obviously that's obviously there. There is not, I will not say that there is less money being pumped into the mental health domain. The problem is we are framing the policies with that money. But the problem is we are not able to implement those policies. You understand what I mean? So the policies are made, but how it has to be implemented, the ground staff which has to implement them, are they trained well to implement? That is the problem. I am making certain structure, I am giving it to my juniors. If I not train my juniors, if I not tell them how to do it, that information is not going to go to the grassroots and to the ground level to cut that stigma and taboo. As a mental health advocate, my concern is the implementation and the execution of the policies. Are the people trained to give away those policies? Are those people trained to even make those policies? Mental health is not just about medicines. Mental health is not just about schizophrenia and depression. Mental health is much more than these things. People do not know how to share their feelings and to talk and to ventilate their thoughts. That is mental health. If something is bugging me today, I can have an antidepressant and sleep. But next day, that thought is again going to pump out. That will make me addicted to the medication till the time that thought is not coming out of my mind. You understand what I mean? Where I'm getting connected.
Yes.
Medication is important. That policy is important. But till the time we are not telling people how to go about it, it is not going to happen. For that, training of human resources is very important.
So as WHO is calling for governments to invest in mental health, it's not just investment in policies as you're talking about. You've mentioned that investment in policies that is there, governments are developing policies. However, those policies are not being implemented up to the grassroots level. There seems to be lack of training for people at the grassroots level.
Yes.
To provide support to different people groups, whether it's children in school, whether it's the police, whether it's other civil servants, or just individuals in the community. So now to take us through that, my question for you is, what more can be done to change this narrative?
Very simple thing. I mean, train your human resource at the best. The teachers, the policymakers, because mental health is something which you can fit anywhere in any domain. It is free of, that it cannot be fit anywhere. It can be fitted anywhere, you know that. So train your people properly, have specific training groups, specific groups of people who are just trained to deliver this kind of a message, even in schools or even, in other domains. I'll tell you a very good example of schools. You mentioned schools. With children, they're very young. There is something called life skills, if you must have heard about it. Now, what happens, I don't know what happens in the UK or any other world. Here in India, the life skills are taught from books. And it is not a subject which is taught theoretically, should not be taught theoretically. It's a life skill. You have to empower the child or the adolescent or the adult to deal with their own issues in any turn of their life, right? I cannot teach a child to not express emotions one day and to express emotions the other day. Something like boys do not cry, you know, that's a wrong misnomer which has been there in the society for a very long time. We have to cut these things, and for that the human resource has to be trained very properly in any domain. I think most of the money should go into the training of these people rather than, just giving out machines and, all these kind of things.
Very well put. Human resource of every institution, and even within the communities, the leaders, whether they are political leaders, religious leaders, any other leaders, need to be trained so that mental health is addressed at a multi-sectoral level, starting from the national all the way to the grassroots and the community level.
Yeah.
As we come towards the end of our show today, I wanted to ask you this one question that we ask all our guests. If the NGO Whisperer is to award you £1 million, what sustainable development goal will you implement? Where will you implement it, and who will be your beneficiary for this project?
I will put into the projects of Peaceful Mind Foundation all the initiatives which we have. The beneficiaries obviously would be every person in the society, starting from a young boy to an old person. And definitely, I would like to use that money to train as many people in society as I can. I mean, that's the best way I can utilize this money. Rest all is okay. So I think I will use all the money to train people.
And what are your future plans for Peacfulmind Foundation?
Future plans, as we are going at a very good pace, we have a huge amount of world leaders, heads of states on board. That is a one achievement I have seen this year since the last year. And we started the World Leaders for Mental Health, in which we have all the policymakers on board to voice out their concern that we support mental health, which was again very well appreciated by world leaders again. My future plans would be definitely to increase more and more projects, and the projects which we are doing, obviously they keep on going, and we keep on increasing the memberships and of the people, and as many people as I can train and get inside Peaceful Mind, that would be great.
What message do you have for any institution, any nonprofit or government entity that is implementing mental health and wellness programs?
My one suggestion would be that whenever you try to implement a mental health program or any such thing which relates to the psyche of a person, please on your board of implementation or forming of a policy or anything, have trained mental health professionals who are qualified so that you know exactly where to go. Today it's a very good thing what you've put up. Today I was reading something on one of the social media platforms, and there was a huge article, and this article actually was something which I used to say 3 years ago. So I related to it, that please check whether your mental health professional at a policy level or at a practicing level is qualified or not. Through your medium, I'll tell every person, if you want to refer a psychologist or a mental health professional or a counselor, please check their qualifications. Every person cannot become a psychologist in just 6 months certificate program. Counseling or mental health professional takes huge amount of time in training themselves to deal with the psyche of other person. So please check their qualifications, because I have seen cases going immensely in a wrong way. The people who are not trained to deal with another person's psyche or mental health issues, it leads to a very different ball game, because you're dealing with the mind of the other person, and it's even more dangerous than giving a wrong dosage or a capsule. So just this is the one suggestion: frame a policy or anything which touches the people's hearts and it changes their lives for good.
What message do you have for the psychologists, the carers, the people who provide mental health support? They also need support.
Every psychologist needs a psychologist. Every counselor needs a counselor. I have my own psychologist and a therapist also. So everybody needs a supporting hand. Do not be ashamed to take this supporting hand. Always be courageous to ask for help. One thing, if you're not courageous enough, not a problem. Maintain a diary and write your feelings. That also helps. So if you're not able to ask for help openly to any person or who you do not trust people that easily, write your feelings down. I think that can also help a person to to ventilate out, even as a professional and as a non-professional.
You've raised a very important point there. And in the NGO Whisperer magazine that is coming up, the December issue, the October to December issue, one of our contributors has actually written an article about how to deal with grief and loss. And when his wife passed away due to cancer at a very young age, in her 30s, what he did is he took out time to journal his feelings, and that's how he healed. And in this article, which I will share with you once we have published the magazine, he's talking about the process of healing from grief and loss, and he's sharing this to the world on how we can overcome this grief that we are feeling right now with the COVID-19 pandemic by journaling and writing down our thoughts. So what you have mentioned is a very, very important tool.
I used to do it myself. I mean, I'm not doing it now because now things are very much sorted, and I have people who I can share my thoughts with. But when I did not have anybody, I have every year I used to make one diary, and I think it's in my library, 4 or 5 diaries completely full of my feelings.
Wow, that's wonderful. And now, where can people find you?
We are available very much on every social sites: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and our website is very much there: www.peacefulmind.org. Peaceful Mind spelling is a little different. It's PEACFULMIND.org. So we are very much available on any of the social media platforms. Our team is very responsive.
Thank you so much, Professor Nabhit Kapur, founder of Peaceful Mind Foundation, for joining us today on the NGO Whisperer Show to talk about mental health, wellness, and a peaceful mind. We are truly honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been an honor and a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also connect with Professor Nabhit Kapur and his team at Peaceful Mind Foundation. We thank you for joining us, and we look forward to bringing you more relevant topics to educate, to entertain you, and above all, it's all about connecting people, raising funds, and impacting lives.